comes the Drake. They wondered where he was. And his brother, everyone knows, is a dragon. They call him Scruffy Dragon because he tends to wear his hair all kind of weird, but he is a dragon of black iron and steel, who, while as big and robust as they come, his heart is as soft as a cloud. And instead he sits in the back, and we cannot speak to him. He has been like this for days. We cannot reach him. His friends went to the back to see him, and there he sat, there he kneeled. Encircled by light, a dark light, his head down. They wondered what was wrong, why was he sitting there, what was this light? As they stepped forward to try and touch, they see it was a barrier that they could not penetrate, they could not get through. They wondered what it was. They called out, "Night, Black Knight, what are you doing? Where are you?" He could hear them, but all he could hear were distant voices in water. That's all he could hear. While inside, he faced one of the hardest battles of his life. In his mind, he stood tall, facing a warrior, darkened in clothes. He could not see its form. He knew it was human, but he wondered who it was. Failure! You have lost! Your mother dies! What do you do now, warrior? How do you fight? He stood up and drew his sword. Test me, and you will fail. He struck, and he fought. His style and grace knew power and skill. Only he, as the Black Knight, could call forth. The shadowy figure matched each strike, blocking with a smile, a glimmering, gleaming teeth. With a final thrust, it grabbed his sword and broke it. Shattered. Hilt laid on the ground. Black Knight, now defenseless. What do you do now, warrior? Tell me, how does a warrior fight without his weapon? What does he do now? You have no power. His hands were up. He was, I will fight. King will strike. You cannot down me. You cannot down me. My mother needs me. I will be there for the oracle. No! You can't! Outside the barrier, the door opened, and in stepped a figure, hooded, who smiled and laughed at what was going on. He laughed and shook his head, and once again, he wondered, why does this boy always forget where his strength lies? Why does he not see that? The great artist has stepped through the portal, once again, to help his brother, for he knows his brother needs it. Even though the great artist sits upon another plane, doesn't matter. He's always called here to help. Brother, you can hear me. Quit being stupid. Fight! The water cleared. He could hear his brother. How can I? My weapon is broken. He matches every strike. He strikes harder than I do. You idiot. Open your eyes. See what is there. Know that my power is here and that the power of your friends are behind you. There was a friend once again who stepped up. They called him a silent wise man. He has been a friend for many years. And he looked at him and was like, you are the kindest fool I've ever known, Black Knight. Why do you worry about your weapon? Would you always have your weapon? Have you not been taught that? You have gifts to pull your weapon. Pull it now. Reach within. Pull it. Know that your friends are here. Feel them. The great artist produced upon a black string a small key with a bead, the Indian bead, around it. It had been something that was kind of their little tool to talk to each other. And he looked at it, and he held it up, and on its own volition it began to spin, and he said these words, Namak Sandan Buduran, Albion Ken Shurshuk. Namak Sandan Buduran. And it spilled, and it spun, and it spun. And the silent wise one says, please, if you care about him, try the best you can and repeat Namak Sandan Buduran. We don't even care if you get the words right. With your heart, reach him. Reach him. Namak Sandan Buduran. Albion Ken Shurshuk. Namak Sandan Buduran. Albion Ken Shurshuk. I do not care if you get it right. Reach with your heart. Namak Sandan Buduran. Albion Ken Shurshuk. The key transformed into light and broke through the field and struck the Black Knight in his chest. And it looked like the Black Knight had fallen. He was again renewed. The light built from within. He could feel and hear the voices of his friends, and he smiled. He smiled greatly. And he said, I understand now. I so very understand now. I've never been alone. I was a fool. As he reached into his chest, into his heart, and pulls out the key, and the light and his weapon formed. And everyone thought that he had a sword, but no. This was the Black Knight, and this was his true weapon. He pulled out a staff and held it in his hand. And he could feel his wings. He could feel them. Once black, dark, now white, powerful. He could feel these wings come from his back. He could feel them. One set, 2, 3, 6 wings. My God, there was a gasp. The shield fell, and he laughed and smiled at the figure and said, how does a warrior fight without his weapons? Then he looks within, and he finds another weapon. And with that, he struck, and he struck, and he struck. And the figure could not keep up with him. He almost laughed at every strike. There were moments where he just toyed with him and could not believe that the figure gave him problems in the first place. It sat there, broken, cracking, the shadows fading off him. He could see it now. It was himself. The Black Knight had been battering his own fear, his own horror, his own terror, and living his own nightmare. That he had no way to defeat it until he understood that in being who he is, his power did not lie in his skills and his talents. These were gifts, yes, but they lied in the ones around him. That the figure fallen, he looked one last time. He says, I will not destroy you, because one needs their fear to keep them wise. But I will control you. Goodbye to you. And he blows, and as dust, it fades away. And he turns to his friends, and he bows. And he says, please, I ask your forgiveness. I did not mean to be so blind. I apologize. And I will remember the best I can, for I am only human. That in this life I have friends, and I can call upon them when I need them. And I say to you, thank you.